Want to know where to start with Genestealer cults or what to watch out for when you're playing them? Well, strap in. GSC are actually a tricky army to get into. They're difficult to play. They're a finesse army, so you have to really know the rules. And also they're a horde army, so there's a lot of painting and modelling to do. They do have a great codex with depth of great options. Some thoughts on the playstyle. They're not the most durable army, so you have to take care of your units. They have cheap infantry, so great to bring lots. They have really good melee, and often armies focus on this. Reasonable shooting, but some good abilities to get more from it. They have cool deployment abilities, fast and mobile, and some good psychic powers that really pay off. The key thing is you have to protect your units. Don't leave them out in the open, don't trade, use cover wisely, and particularly use line of sight blocking to your advantage, and vehicles. So looking at some key abilities, we'll start off with Cult Ambush. It's key to making the most of the faction and a fantastic mechanism to gain an advantage. You deploy tokens instead of units, and only decide during the game where they actually go. There's a great advantage going second, as you only reveal after your opponent's first turn of movement, and it means you can interact with your opponent's strategy by countering what they've done. When you reveal a unit on a token, you can actually string your models out, gaining some extra movement, and they also act as a movement blocker, as your opponent can't go within 9 inches of a token. It's certainly a key ability for just even confusing your opponent. Underground and Deep Strike. In competitive games, it's still only from turn 2, but GSC can deep strike to within 8 inches. It's powerful, but don't overuse it, as even charging from 8 inches isn't that reliable, with only a 41% chance of making it. Really useful for grabbing board control, but if a unit fails a charge, it's going to be out in the open, and that means it'll get picked off easily. There is a cool upgrade for a unit called a Trap Sprung, and this means they can roll 3d6, pick 2 for the charge. Crossfire roll. At first read it does sound quite confusing, but essentially you shoot at a target, and this can then make the rest of your army +1 to hit against that target for the rest of your turn. There are a few rules to follow, like needing 5 hits to trigger it, or 1 hit from a strong gun. So I suggest using your weaker guns to shoot first to get the buff, and then your real guns to benefit from it. There's loads of other abilities and strats that interact with Crossfire, and ways to automatically apply Crossfire markers. Exposed. It can link nicely with Crossfire, and if you have units on either flank of an enemy unit, then it makes it exposed, which means during shooting you get +1 to wound. It's a great way to get the not so good guns punching above the weight. If you combine both Crossfire and Exposed within 12 inches, the enemy doesn't get benefit of cover. Unquestionable loyalty. Essentially, infantry can take damage for characters. So after failing all the saves for a character, you can then roll to apply the damage to infantry. It's great as it can soak up really high damage. One fail essentially kills one cheap infantry model. So it doesn't matter how much damage it was delivering, that one model just dies. The Patriarch gets this on a 3+, other characters are 4+. It's like an extra feel no pain, but you do have to consider it when you're in your movement. Now let's look at some of the key units you want to be playing or you're going to be facing. The Patriarch. It's well worth taking, it's the figurehead of the army. You've got loads of cool combos with it, powerful in its own right, it's got psychic powers, and it almost feels like it's not a GSC army if it doesn't have the Patriarch. Some other must-take characters, and they're all part of the same box set. You've got the Primus, this is your buffing character, and the Magus, it's mainly for psychic powers. And they're essentially auto-includes. Now looking at your troops, you've got your Neophyte Hybrids. This is for your shooting, so you want to avoid up close stuff. Really just take shotguns and keep it simple, and maybe a seismic cannon for your special weapon. The Acolyte Hybrids, these are your melee troops, and one of the best units in your army. Tons of options to build them depending on how you want to use them, but they'll do great work for you. You can deep strike them in as close as 6 inches away, and it's a great threat. A basic cheap 5-man auto pistol squad is great as a utility unit to just get stuff done. Rock drills and cutters are best for the heavy hitting squads, and hand flamers are actually great options too. With both of these though, remember to look after them, keep them hidden, and then just accept that they'll die. In my opinion, icons aren't really worth it, but if you do want to take them, perhaps consider on the Neophyte squads, as you can bring back D3 models. Now for some elites, you've got your Aberrants. They're really fair models and hit the hardest from the codex. Not a great save, but with 3 wounds, toughness 5, and -1 damage, they can stand toe to toe with an enemy, which is great. They dish out a lot of damage, and you can also even give them transhuman. Pure Strain Genestealers. Absolutely killer in the new codex. I've done a video about these, and I've always loved Genestealers. They now have a 4+ invuln, they're fast, they've got loads of attacks, and in Twisted Helix with +1 strength and move, they're an absolute auto take. The Jackals, they're fast with a native -1 to hit. They can also make a pre-game move of 9 inches, and they're good for helping you get Crossfire and Exposed on units. Goliath Trucks, absolutely essential to the army. You get your troops where they need to be and not killed too early. They're open top so you can shoot out from them. They're durable with -1 damage. Because they're quite a big model, you get movement shenanigans whenever you reveal them from blip tokens. Definitely bring a few. Looking at the creeds you can run them as, Twisted Helix is probably the best one to start with, really strong and easy to see why it's so good. It's actually really focused on melee armies because of the buffs, with +1 strength and +1 inch to move. or your army can also never be wounded on a 2, which is really good considering the amount of powerful armies out there, and now they'll only be able to wound on 3 minimum. The possible other good option is Rusted Claw. Advance and shoot without penalty, so it's fast and flexible. They also reduce incoming AP by 1, this is only for AP 1 and 2, and they have a really good psychic power which adds AP to attacks against the target. While there's quite a lot to remember, they are a fun and satisfying army to play with. It can be a little bit more challenging to make the most out of them. They've got loads of cool characters, so list building is really fun, so I think you'll have a great time playing them, or a difficult time playing against them. Let me know if you're playing GSC or consider doing it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.